Bump,
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 ba-dum,
bump,
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 bump.
bump.
Oh, it's a happy
Not how about
Bendy
it?
on a Tuesday morning. We got confetti.
Confetti? I don't know.
I
We need
think-
lasers
just
are for lasers.
lasers?
There we go. Yeah.
There we got lasers.
Always need the
But I'm
lasers for
down
the
with
winners.
confetti too. Like that works.
I mean,
just
confetti,
fine.
you know, it's
Um,
different. It works.
It is different. It is different. Welcome to another edition of the Blue Review presented by LAX. I'm Marcus Grant with Greg Bergman, Parker Bell, and joined today by Graham Metzker. You may know him as one of the kids in the back. He's also our resident Phillies fan who was kind enough to wake up in the morning and join us here on the Blue Review a day after his team took a really tough loss in Game 2 of the NLDS, 4-3, the final score. Graham, just how you feeling this morning, man?
Well, Marcus, I'm not exactly in a laser mood. I'm not exactly in a confetti mood. I'll start there. But I appreciate you guys having me. I think this will be therapeutic for me. This is good for me to get all of this out. So thank you for having me, guys.
Well, glad you came. We're glad to have you here. I appreciate you as always. Before we get into that, obviously a lot that happened last night in the ball game on both sides, so we'll certainly dive into all of that and more. But as always, want to give a shout out to the folks at LAX, transforming the travel experience. They are saving guests time. We are excited about the People Mover train. I'll tell you, I've driven kind of past and seen the connector as it's being completed. So hopefully that is up and running early next year, which, by the way, next year is like 2 months away. 3 months away, I guess. Anyway, for more information, go to flylax.com/transforminglAX. Well, first things first, Graham. I mean, I just want to ask, and I want you to explain to everybody in the chat how a kid who, as far as I know, is from Southern California, landed on Phillies fandom.
Yeah, I'm glad to get it out the way, Marcus. My dad, he's from the Philly area, Delaware, to be specific. So he was cursing me with all these Philly sports when I was younger, making me a Phillies fan, making me an Eagles fan. Thank goodness for my grandpa on my other side. He stole me away and put me in front of the TV. Kobe and Shaq were going back to back. So at least I don't got to be a Sixers fan. But yeah, it's always just been, the Philly way. My dad taught me, and he's so bad he won't even watch the games. He's too nervous. He know, like I know, that the Phillies are going to build your hopes up. Even when you think the game's over 4-1, I'm ready to turn it off and turn on the football. They'll get a few extra runs just to get your hope alive and then burn it all down again.
So Graham, I see that, first of all, in the chat, Sherry with the comment of the night. I wish we could take it and put it on the screen. Sherry says, I'll add his tears to my coffee. And I just love that.
Cheers, Sherry.
So much, Sherry. That was just perfect for this morning. But I went just from the beginning of it. I asked Graham to come on before the series started. So it could have been 2-0 us, 2-0 them, 1-1. It could have been anything. And he agreed to come on today way in advance. So good for you, Graham, to still come on despite the fact that you're down 2-0. Now, the one thing I do want to ask you right off the bat is, what are you more hurt this morning because they had a chance to win, or is it just a hurt?
No, I'm absolutely more hurt. To come back at all, to show any fight at all. I thought that, if it's going on what we've seen in the past few postseasons, this team doesn't have any fight when they go back down. So it took a lot to get that. And to be honest, it's amazing. I don't know another human that's swinging at that pitch except for Nick Castellanos. Maybe Shohei. You're right. You're right. That's the only other guy. It hurts way more that they ended up coming back. But I'm really, really glad they did. They got themselves in a good spot. We can talk about the decisions we did once we got there with Castellanos getting on base. I don't know about the bunt, especially with Casty being the one on the base path. It hurts more, but I am honestly a little happy that they showed some fight. I didn't think they had it in them.
I know, like on the Phillies side of things, it's hey, they showed some fight. I feel like on the Dodgers side of things, it's you guys got to face our bullpen. I think the counter argument to that, but regardless, they did made it a ball game, had the tying run in scoring position with nobody out. Before, as you mentioned, the bunt by Stott, which I was reading this morning. In fact, the article in the LA Times about Mookie Betts calling the wheel play
It was great.
A thing that they had only done one other time during the year in a game against the Angels, a game that the Dodgers actually lost. But Mookie deciding to call it. Bryson Stott puts down the bunt. The Dodgers execute it to perfection and then somehow wriggle their way out, which, again, was the source of a million heart attacks, I think, for folks wearing blue. Probably folks wearing red, too, just the way that thing went.
The wheel play, I saw a whole bunch of videos about it last night. You're right. Mookie called it. But then Freddie was talking about how he had to get to second base because then who was it? Stott. So Stott wouldn't go from home to second base. So there's a whole bunch of things, and from hearing it from different perspectives from the Dodgers, it's all over the place on Twitter. If you want to go find it, it's talked from Mookie, from Freddie, from Muncy about what their role in everything was, and it was really a phenomenal play. That it's not something that they practice. It's not something that they are like, oh, hey, let's practice the wheel route today. It was more so that Miguel Rojas did it against Parker's Angels. Again, you're like you said, they lost, but then Mookie's just like, we got to do it. And they did it to perfection and saved the game, fully saved the game. Now, Nick Castellanos was very, 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 very late.
He's also quite slow. Graham, is it as simple for the Phillies right now as saying they just aren't getting production from the top of the lineup? I mean, I'm looking at this, and Kyle Schwarber is 0 for 7, Bryce Harper is 1 for 7, Trey Turner is 1 for 7. So your top three guys, what is that, a 2 for 21? It feels like right now, at least the two games, that's kind of the story of the series.
Marcus, we can go further back than that. We can go back to the last playoff series, the only playoff series they had last year against the Mets. Since then, Kyle Schwarber is 3 for 28. Alec Boehm is 2 for 19. JT Realmuto, 2 for 19. Brandon Marsh, who we somehow still have from Parker's Angels, 2 for 18. The Phillies have lost 7 of their last 8 playoff games. Only in one of those games have they scored more than 5 runs, and it was the game where it took everything to get a walk-off home run against the Mets, which, by the way, was Nick Castellanos saving us again. It's not good enough. And if you can't expect your big guys to come through, Harper has come through in past series, so I won't go so hard on him. But, I mean, you've got Turner. 2 opportunities with men on base. Yeah, Turner had a knock in the first few games, but then nothing when it counts the most. So how much leeway can I give these superstars? If they get 1 hit a game, is that really enough? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, and I thought about this too last night, guys. Like, as I was going back over that game in my head and realizing that so far the Dodgers have kept a lid on that top of the order, it cover your ears, folks. It made me think of the 2023 NLDS, the Dodgers D-back series, where the Diamondbacks not just ran through the Dodgers, but they got nothing from Mookie. They got nothing from Freddie in that series. The guys at the top of the order that they were hoping to really provide offense for them just didn't show up. Now, obviously, in that series, too, the Dodgers just didn't pitch very well. That had something to do with it because, Graham, the Phillies starting pitching, I think, has been pretty good. I mean, Christopher Sanchez was lights out. Luzardo was amazing last night. I mean,
incredible.
At one point retired 17 in a row. It feels like the starting pitching has been, they have matched the Dodgers pitch for pitch in these first 2 games.
The Phillies starting pitching, it's incredible that this rotation is this good, losing the ace of the staff, Zach Wheeler. I can't imagine. Having Luzardo to do that to Game 3 would feel really nice right now. I still have faith in the Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez piggyback plan that Rob Thompson stole from listening to the Blue Review a couple weeks ago.
Stolen, but happily.
This is easily the strength of this Phillies team. And like I said, you can't ask for more from Luzardo. Sanchez did great to hold off the Dodgers for that long. And, Duran is fantastic. He went a little longer than I would have liked for him last night. The weakness for the Phillies is getting from the starters to the closer that's been shutting it down. I saw stuff about exactly. It's tough to do. I saw people saying that Matt Strahm was tipping his pitch, that Andy Pajes had caught the sign in Game 1. Guys, it was 91 down the middle. You don't need a sign to steal that. You don't need a sign to steal that. That's just like with the Phillies bullpen, it's like, oh, they're good. They just have one bad pitch. That's not going to cut it against the Dodgers right now. So incredibly, incredibly happy with the Phillies starters. I certainly didn't expect Luzardo to go that long. I think I would have kept him rolling too, so I'm not really mad at Thompson for bringing him out there for the 7th and then changes his mind real quick. Can't ask for more from Luzardo. It was so fun to watch that duel between Snell and Luzardo, especially a guy like Snell who's just been in incredible form right now. Luzardo, he gave everything he had, and he had no type of run support.
I did last night. I was like scrolling and I saw a Sarah Lang's story about six fun facts from Game 2 of that series. One of them, entering the 7th inning, Luzardo had retired 17 consecutive batters, second longest streak in a postseason game in Phillies history. Roy Halladay retired 21 straight in Game 1 of the 2011 NLDS, which is actually the year after his no-hitter. But also Luzardo doing the 17 in a row was on the anniversary of Roy Halladay doing 21 in a row.
And they lose.
Actually threw out the first pitch in that ball game. But since we are talking bullpens, Parker.
Hey now.
The decision
Hey now.
the decision to hold Roki Sasaki back and start the 9th inning with Blake Trinan. This we could be having a completely different conversation if it's not for Vesia to some extent, and then Roki Sasaki coming in to pull that one out of the fire. That was a decision that kind of blew up in Dave Roberts' face that they saved him on last night, it felt like.
Yeah, I saw early on in the chat people kind of wanted to get to it immediately. This is one of those situations where, did Dave just not want us to turn off the TV? Did he want us to stay on the edges of our seats? Because it worked. It worked, Dave. You definitely got us sweating. And you can find on social media, actually, on ESPN Los Angeles, Travis's reaction to just basically the ending of the game. Because it was so much of a roller coaster, you'll understand his reaction. So check that out. But it's moments like that, Marcus, where you're sitting there going, just wash, rinse, repeat. Don't break what's not, don't fix what's not broken. You saw the, Greg's piggyback plan into Roki work. Just keep doing it until it doesn't work. And then if you have to break glass in case of emergency, sure, go to a Vesia. But at this point, Blake Trinan is unusable. I think completely unplayable. He went 3 of the exact same pitches to Castellanos, and even though it was that little, bloop swing that he did, he basically knew the pitch was coming because it was just the same exact pitch 3 in a row. So you could get a bloop off of that any single time. I think even Stott would have been able to get a bloop off of that, Graham. But it was upsetting. It was upsetting to see, Marcus, and I hope that moving forward, Dave realizes, oh shoot, let me go back to what was working the wild card series and Game 1.
I know we were in the text chat last night, Greg, and that was the question I asked. Well, I asked it actually for the 8th inning. Or was it the 8th or 9th inning? But I was like, do you stick with Sheehan? But I said, do you give Roki a clean inning? I never imagined they were going to actually run Trinan out there. So I don't even know. Like, was he still a branch on the trust tree? If so, I feel like that has been sheared off now. It's got to be piggyback plan to Roki. That has to be the only answer for this bullpen now.
I think it has to be. And last night that was the only option. There was no reason to ever go to Trinan there. I mean, if he got out of it, then maybe that's the reason I could only think of, is that you put him out there with a 3-run lead, let him get through it, and then he becomes trusted again, and you have another guy that you go to. He obviously is not. He obviously can't do it, and is completely cooked. So it was always stick with Sheehan in the 9th or go to Roki with a clean inning. I also understand the other side of it with Dave not wanting people to see Roki too many times, not to get too much film on Roki, and just let him kind of like pitch here and there so that he can find his way through. The only issue with the piggyback to Roki plan that I can foresee is in a 7-game series, assuming they get out of this one, is that you can't do it in a 7-game series and 2 7-game series at that matter. It's just there's not enough guys. You're relying so heavily on your starting pitching, which has been phenomenal. So maybe if they can go 6 or 7 innings, then that's fine. But they have to do it game in and game out and be close to perfect. When that happens, you can do it. If there's any kind of option where any time when there's trouble, then it doesn't work, and you're going to have to go to guys like Vezina, Bonda. I feel like I love that it says Phillies fan next to him. So yeah, I want it to work in every single game. Now it's the more I see it, and the more that I see that it's working, and I think, okay, now what happens in the next series? Can that still continue to work in the next series? I would hope so.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Dodger fans would hope so, but obviously now the important thing, obviously, a day off today as they travel back to Los Angeles, get ready for Game 3. Graham, Aaron Nola getting the start for the Phillies, so the Dodgers actually see a right-hander. Any surprise that it's Nola versus maybe running Ranger Suarez out there to start this one? I think you're on mute.
You're mute.
You're muted.
This is not at all surprising. This is such a Rob Thompson, just go with your guy. And for me, Ranger Suarez has the higher floor. I've got more trust in him just to be consistent on the mound. But I also like him more out of the bullpen. I just like him better. So I don't love it. Nola has struggled with injuries all year. Even when he's at his best, he's good to give up the longest 2-run home run you've seen in your life. So I think it's fine just because I like Ranger out of the bullpen a little bit better, and we've been using pretty much all of our other guys out of the bullpen. Doesn't surprise me at all. I'm not expecting anything great from Aaron Nola right now, but certainly a Rob Thompson move.
I was just looking as you were talking. He did face the Dodgers earlier this year, back in April. Gave up 3 runs on 7 hits in 6 innings, including a pair of home runs
There you go.
in that ball game, which the Dodgers ended up taking 2 or 3. That was way back early in the season, guys, when the Dodgers were still hot, and we were like, hey, they're going to win 119 games before the ugliness happened at that point. But Greg, I mean, at this point, obviously the series is not over yet. It's still a good team they have to face, but you're coming home, 3 chances to win 1, and you're giving the ball to Yamamoto on Wednesday. I don't think any of us would have imagined that they'd be sitting in this sort of position after 2 games in Philadelphia.
No, I fully expected to come back 1-1. Whether it was they losing the first one, losing the second one, I didn't know what
that was best case scenario to me.
That was best. Yeah,
1-1,
best case was 1-1. If they were down 0-2, I mean, obviously, I feel like it would have probably been close to over because then the Phillies were just mowing through them. But I figured 1-1 they'd be coming back, and to be up 2-0 is just massive. And with Yamamoto Yoshinobu is going to be on the mound, it's just fantastic. I'm gonna be at that game too, so I'm really excited about that. That guy, if you want somebody to close out a series as a starter, Yamamoto's the guy, right? There's nobody else on the staff that you can trust more to be there. Although I don't know, man. Blake Snell looked so good yesterday.
He looked amazing.
So good. My goodness. I didn't know if he was ever going to give up a hit for a while. It's like this dude is just rolling, putting it past everybody. So this pitching staff, if they just continue to go like this as they've been since the beginning of August, teams are in trouble, man. I mean, if they can do this to the Phillies, imagine what they're going to do to other teams. The only other team, like the Brewers, they looked pretty. Yeah,
they thumped the Cubs pretty good last night.
I think that's going to be a series, and they did not beat the Brewers at all this year. It was all early, but
Speaking of Snell, became the second Dodgers pitcher with a scoreless postseason start of at least 6 innings, allowing 1 or no hits. The other one is Walker Buehler, who did it in Game 1 of the 2019 NLDS. The only pitcher other than Snell across Major League Baseball who has had a similar start in the last 3 postseasons is Zach Wheeler, who did it in Game 1 of the 2024 NLDS. So right now, Snellzilla sort of on another level.
More on Snell, just career-wise, Marcus. You sent it in. I think, Greg, actually, you sent this earlier. The Opta stats shows that he's most in MLB postseason history, most by any pitcher with 4 career postseason outings with 9 strikeouts plus and no more than 2 hits. The guy is
amazing.
Ice in his veins during the playoffs. And this just pitching staff in general, in terms of starters, has been so dominant since really the end of August all the way through now. They're just mowing down teams, and it's so amazing. And I'm so excited to see Yamamoto on the mound mowing down some more guys.
So obviously they're back in action tomorrow. I mean, Graham, if you're going to boil this down and kind of give the recipe for the Phillies getting back in this series, what has to happen?
I was listening to some Lakers preseason the other day with John Ireland, Mike Trudell, and Trudell was talking about Dalton Connect, and he said, he struggled in the summer league. He had his moments last year, but he's always just a game away. He's a guy that can get hot like that. He needs that confidence like that. He's always just a game away from finding himself. And John jumped in and said he's really only a shot away from finding himself. And that's perpetually the Phillies. They're always a swing away from lighting it up. Last night, when there were guys on the bases, if Schwarber finally would have got a piece of one, if Harper would have got a piece of one, this is a completely different series. Even though it could be 1-1, the Phillies are bringing wild momentum. They're seeing that they can actually get their bat on the ball. So I can never fully give up on this team that I don't even think has a chance here. But as long as they've got Schwarber and Harper in the lineup, they're always a threat to hit a home run. That's all it's got to be. Someone has to hit a home run. This team all year has not been any good at getting runs any other way. It's only just the long ball for the Phillies. So I can never give up on them, not even with 2 outs. They're down by 1 million in the 9th. As long as one of those guys has another chance, they've always got a chance. But if you guys can't tell, I'm not feeling super optimistic.
Well, I will say that we didn't really. Yeah, go ahead, Greg.
Sorry, I got one question for you. If they lose, if they get swept, Graham, what happens to the team? Do you blow this team up if they lose again in the postseason and get swept in the DS? What do you do
whether they win or lose? They have a lot of construction to do, anyways. Guys, Kyle Schwarber is a free agent next year. No matter what, it's insane that he's still a free agent next year. Nick Castellanos is going to leave next year. You still don't have Wheeler for a lot of time next year. It's fine, but it's a whole other conversation. I could go a whole other 30 minutes how Rob Thompson has screwed up the Nick Castellanos situation. He was hitting 309 before he got to the Phillies. But I think I would not be mad at them firing Rob Thompson. I don't think they will do it, but I would completely support it because he's alienated people in the locker room. He hasn't made a good decision since he took over for Joe Girardi, which he just inherited that job.
Damn.
So I would be happy to see them blow it up. But I think no matter where the Phillies go this postseason, they have a lot of work to do anyways. And I think it's clear that this team is not on the same level as the Dodgers. You got to add more bats that are intimidating. There's like 2 bats that you got to be scared of right now on the Phillies.
Schwarber and Harper.
Schwarber and Harper.
That's it.
Which is part of last night before we wrap up. I mean, I think for me and Greg and Parker and Dodger fans, like when Sheehan got through the 8th, and you had cleared at that point, had cleared Schwarber and Harper, it felt like, okay, I mean, it's not over, but you can exhale a little bit going to the 9th. Then all of a sudden, here you are with Trey Turner coming back to the plate, with the tying run on base. It got a little bit dicey, but Roki Sasaki, our new bullpen king, was able to close it out. So
we got to talk about Sheehan tomorrow because he had a 98-mile-per-hour fastball right into the wheelhouse of Kyle Schwarber, and that was what I think Parker was doing, like big old marbles right there.
Just huge marbles to go out and challenge like that. So we'll get into that for sure tomorrow. Hey, Graham, I appreciate you jumping in. I know this is not a fun position to be in, but glad you're able to come hang out with us, man. It was a good chat today.
Talking with you guys is always fun. I feel like this made it better. It's like talking it out.
It's like, hey man, this shows a little bit of therapy for all of us sometimes. So glad you be part of it, and glad for everybody in the chat as always to come hang out with us. The numbers have been great. We're so glad that you guys have been here for us at 6:30. Whether you're catching it on replay, what have you, but it's been amazing, and we are so grateful for all of you guys for being here and participating in this chat, because otherwise it's just us talking to ourselves, and
we'll still do it. But
we'll still do it.
Yeah,
it's just not as fun. So we're glad you're here for us. Thanks to LAX as well. Stick around for the Sedano and Cap morning extravaganza coming up here on the ESPN LA YouTube channel. But that'll do it for this edition of the Blue Review. No game today, but we'll still be back with you tomorrow to get back into what happened in the first two games and get you ready for game 3 as well. So for Graham Metzker, for Parker Bell, for Greg Bergman, I am Marcus Grant. Be back with you tomorrow, 6:30 to 6:55 a.m. here on the ESPN LA YouTube channel. See you then, everybody.
See ya. Lasers.
The Blue Review. Otani's coming, boys. He got a hit. He's coming.
Didn't even talk Otani.